it should be on the offensive player to protect his players. So like
Right.
which I don't disagree with him
Yeah.
actually. It's just I hope he realizes those rules have extended his career. If they
Right.
didn't change those rules, he would not be in the NFL.
I guess there's like a thin line between those hard hit videos you saw back in the you can probably go on YouTube and just quarterbacks being destroyed.
Troy Aikman's career. Talk to Troy Aikman about he brought up the hit that Fields took in the preseason, which it wasn't dirty. It looked like his helmet popped out. It was a violent hit, but it was clean. And that's I wish at the very minimum they would review it. There's enough time to just do pause 20 seconds. Let's review this. Let's get a couple angles of it. Though still, even when you slow it down a little bit, it almost looks more like the guy just put his head down and hit him. It wasn't anything. He had no one blocked him, and he had a clean shot at him, and he didn't have his helmet strapped on right, and large men hitting each other is violent sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, if we're walking right now against each other or walking towards each other at normal walk speed, and you weren't looking, and I would just put my shoulder in you at walking speed, it will shake you.
Yeah.
It's not a comfortable feeling.
Sure.
Imagine a light jog. Then imagine a full sprint.
Yeah. You have 240 pounds, especially I don't know who hit him, but I'm sure he runs like a 4.5. Then you add just the speed he can generate with all that power. I mean, it's just it sometimes it's just it
happens.
Yeah.
You can't avoid it.
But and the funny thing, everyone was talking about how much of a genius Brady is, not we don't already know that, right. But especially when it comes to football, I don't know how many football minds are much sharper than Tom Brady about how he pointed that out. I'm like, well, yeah, because he's exploited it. He's not 20 years ago, he's not throwing the ball over the middle. Now he knows his receivers aren't going to get jammed. He knows they're not going to get touched. He knows they're not going to get laid out over the middle. Just that's why he can. That's part of the reason he can process the field so much. I'm not even talking about protecting the quarterback has extended his career. His career's been extended just from the simple fact that everyone around him has been protected too, and he knows that Mike Evans is going to be in the spot, and it's going to be safe to throw the ball to him.
I'm excited for football.
I am fucking jacked.
And I'm pretty sure I'm more excited because of just our broken hearts, and in terms of the Chicago Cubs, it's been a tough last kind of month.
It's been a rough summer of sport. I have been completely unplugged with sports. Nope. I mean, we talked the other day about the Cubs. I've kept an eye on it, but I have not watched the games. I see Hayward hit a 3-run homer to win the game yesterday. I was like, oh, good for him. Earned that contract.
What's his name? Swindell?
Yeah.
He's
mashing.
Ian Happ got another one yesterday. Wisdom, they're fucking around with what they have. Here's how it is. You just broke up with your girlfriend of, in this case, 5 years.
You'd almost, I would say, you were engaged to this girl.
Yes.
You know what?
Yes.
You were planning the wedding.
Yep. Everything was meant to be with this one.
Had the kids all lined up and everything.
Yep. And then she just said, that she, what's a silly thing that fucking
it's not you, it's me.
Yeah. I just grew apart from each other. We grew apart. You mean you grew apart, bitch? I didn't grow apart. And then now you're dating someone, and she's banging. I'm not saying in looks. I'm just saying that she is fun to hang out with, but your brain can't your brain keeps treating her like a rebound. Where it's man, I don't see it going anywhere. But she's cool as hell right now. Shut the fuck up. Just deal with it for now. Stop thinking about your ex. That's where I'm at right now.
And ultimately, to just bring it back to sports, because I don't know how I'm going to be able to button up that analogy. What I'm going to say is, it's just a small sample size. They're playing meaningless games. They've been hot for a little bit. They haven't been playing. They've had a couple tough opponents, but for the most part, they've been also going against bottom feeders. Yeah. So it's whatever. Good for them. I'm happy for a guy like Schwindel, who is a 30-year-old rookie that just never would have got a chance in the majors, had this opportunity not come up. Like
Things happen.
Yeah,
For a reason sometimes.
maybe he has a decent. Maybe he'll probably find himself on a roster next year because of it. I mean, I imagine the Cubs have control of him. Same thing with Ortega. He's another guy that he's been on several different teams, but he hasn't really had too many shots in the majors. Good for him. Like there's a lot of these. Even Wisdom's probably a guy who had things not gone a certain direction. Didn't get too many. I mean, he had more opportunities than Schwindel because he was a first-round pick, so like the pedigree's there. But there's just guys that the only way you were ever going to see like the 4A players, if you will, that like just they were never going to get out of the minors unless a team was like, well, we're trying to lose.
Right. It's literally the best case scenario for these guys because yeah, to your point, it's like who knows what would have happened if they would have stayed together. You know. For these guys, and that's the one thing I always have like this like it's a tough pill to swallow when it comes to baseball because I don't see that happening too much in other sports when you have people that just baseball's funny because you need a lot of opportunities sometimes. I've seen people that their first major league at bat they got a home run and they tore it up that first week and then you never heard anything from them because they went downhill after that. It's tough to get a small sample size of at-bats and expect to, wow someone enough to give you a contract and keep you in the pros or in the major league level. And these guys got it. But it makes you wonder how many other people are in the minor leagues that just
For sure.
are just buried down there, will never get an opportunity. What they need is constant at-bats, constant looks at the plate and stuff like that. But they'll never get it because there's this
whatever reason
guy,
the team just doesn't think they project as a major league player,
right.
And sometimes like especially if you're on like a good team, like if the Yankees aren't going to be bringing up a bunch of players because their major league roster is
right.
set. The Giants, Dodgers, anyone, they're not going to be like, oh well, let's try this guy out. No, they're in the process of trying to win a World
right.
Series.
Like there might if Giancarlo Stanton goes 0 for 40, they'll keep him there because they know he's going to turn it around.
He might get less at bats, but
is there someone else in the minors that could produce more for that team right now?
Jason Hayward's a pretty good example of a guy that like there's a big contract that you're just not gonna move. Like
right.
I know I just mentioned him getting the game-winning home run, but he's batting like 212 on the season. I actually don't know exactly what he's batting off the top of my head, but I know it's not particularly well.
And he finally got over the 2.
Yeah, he's
been hot lately, but he hasn't. Or I'm using the term hot.
Yeah, I don't even know I just know he hit the game-winning home run. So I've only paid attention to a few like Wisdom. Wisdom was a guy that was like kind of snuck in there while they're like making the playoff push early in the season. You're like, oh, we might have something here. He might build with this team, but
and then he went downhill a little bit, but now he's picked it up again, which is good to see that he's adapting a little bit. He and Happ started awful, and now he's kind of. I mean, he's still not doing good, but he's doing good like this for this last.
Yeah, he's doing over the
period.
past like 4 to 6 weeks. He's actually doing really good.
Yeah.
It's just he was so bad. It's still only batting like 220.
Yeah,
and the question is he a 330 hitter or a 180 hitter, or is he probably more than likely a 220 hitter somewhere in between?
Is he hitting more because he's now like everyday player?
It just doesn't matter, and there's no pressure either. He actually probably somewhat make a segue to football here. He has his own podcast. It's pretty, I can't think of it. I only hear clips of it when I listen to the score, but he's actually I find Ian Happ to be a pretty interesting guy. He's just more of he's just not like I don't know. I'm not trying to like. He just is not a dumb jock. He's a pretty.
Right.
He seems like a pretty intelligent guy. And anyway, they're talking football on the podcast, and he was talking how like he's pretty excited to see Justin Fields, and then he hit. I forget who his buddies are. They aren't Chicago guys. But then he's saying he's just like, honestly, I feel really bad for Andy Dalton right now because he's like, man, you think the fans are tough on me? If he just his first interception he throws, they're just gonna murder him.
Yep.
They're gonna want blood.
Yeah, and this is, by the way, for Chicago fans, because we're from Chicago, so we're gonna. I don't care any other city. You just put yourself in the shoes of the player for a second and realize how much of an asshole you guys could be, because you're shitting on Andy Dalton. Okay, we still don't know how that's gonna work out. I get it. We're all excited for Justin Fields. I get it. And one could argue that maybe he should be the starter. Fine.
But that energy should be directed towards Matt Nagy.
Exactly.
Not Andy Dalton.
That's not Dalton's. He's not the one calling the shots here. So think about that when you guys shit on players, shit on,
no one put
Chris Bryant, shit on all these guys, and wonder if maybe there was a little bit of blame for why they're not here.
No one put a gun to Ryan Pace's head and said, "Hey, Andy, here's $10 million."
Right.
I would rather have Justin Fields. I'm at this point. So we mentioned how it's been a tough season or tough summer for baseball. I have just completely consumed nothing but football the past 4 or 5. Like anything sports related, it's been consumption of football, specifically around Justin Fields. Spoiler alert: I'm really excited about him. But I'm just so tired of hearing about at this point. I'm like, you know what? They announced Dalton's a starter. Let's just see how this works out. You know what? Nothing's gonna change it, and ultimately, in the long run, I think it would be more intelligent to start Fields. But in the long run, if Justin Fields ends up being like our Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, whatever, he ends up being a top 5 quarterback, an elite quarterback, no one's gonna give a fuck how it started.
Right. Yep. But yeah, I'm very excited for football. I got my check this morning. I think I mentioned it in the last podcast.
Bonus.
Yeah. So yeah. I switched jobs and there was going to be a gap, so I decided to pull not a lot, just like about a few paychecks worth out of my 401k, just for bills and stuff like that. And it's like everything else; it takes forever. Anyway, it finally came through. We don't need it now. We passed that hump of bill paying while I was technically unemployed. I was still employed, but the break between paychecks, my last one, and then you got to work 2 weeks before you even see so that I'm not gonna put the whole thing in fantasy or in betting, but I'm gonna fuck around. I might put $100 in each app that I have in terms of fantasy / bets. Because I'm pumped, at least for the first week.
Did you see DraftKings plus 73 for Tampa today? Free $25 basically. You put 25 down on them. I mean, unless they.
Is it DraftKings? You said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless somehow Tampa Bay loses by 74 points, which I feel pretty confident they won't. It's free $25.
I'll take it. And they're going against Dallas, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I was gonna actually wear the Aikman jersey behind me. When I was a kid, I loved the Dallas Cowboys, specifically for that guy right there. I just can't find myself wearing a Dallas jersey right now. They're so unlikable.
I've grown out of a little bit of my a lot of my meathead sports fandom for them. Like my buddy Nate gives me shit about how I don't hate the Packers anymore. Listen, when the Bears play them, I want them to murder them. But and maybe it's because we've just been beat down by them so much. It's just if the Bears were good for the last 15 years, the Packers kept beating the fuck out of them, I'd hate their guts because they're the ones who kept getting in the way. No different than for a while, I hated LeBron because he was the one who got in the way of the Derrick Rose Bulls. Right. Same reason Cleveland fans or Knicks fans hated Jordan because he was and probably the same reason he's a Niners fan. He hates the Seahawks because they're the team that always got in the way.
Yankees and Boston. Exactly.
Yeah. So just the Bears haven't been competitive, so I just can't. I just can't find the energy for it. But yeah, there's something about that's ingrained in me just to not like Dallas. It always feels a little extra special to beat the Cowboys.
Right. So I'm kind of a Yankees fan, not as much as I am a Cubs fan. And it was comparing this to the whole Bears and Packers. When the Yankees were the Yankees and Boston was Boston, I like David Ortiz. Mm-hmm. I like. Oh my God.
Pedro Martinez.
Who's the second baseman? I keep wanting to say Teixeira. It's
not that white guy.
It starts with a P, maybe?
Yeah. Pedroia? Is it Pedroia?
Yes.
There it is. I kept thinking about Noma.
I
remember the Cubs traded for him. That was a Khalil Mack, Jay Cutler day for me.
Jason Varitek. Mm-hmm. I like that that Boston team, they were fun. I can't hate them because they got sometimes in the way of the Yankees. I like Devontae Adams. I like Aaron Rodgers.
But real quick, Pedro Martinez, one of my all-time favorite baseball players. Just this little guy just fucking slinging heat.
Yeah. Nasty circle change.
Uh-huh.
Woo. Who else? Even prior to Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson, fucking driver.
Hey, you love Jordy Nelson. You got a thing for white receivers.
I have a thing for people that have won me fantasy.
Sure, no, I'm not. Listen,
it has nothing to do with their.
He
just happen to be white.
Happens to draft a lot of white receivers.
Eric Decker. I was actually going to wear Eric Decker's jersey, but it was a little tight in the midsection. By the way, Eric Decker, the worst thing he could have done is gone to New York. Like, he just went from being one of the top receivers in the NFL, obviously CC Peyton Manning, but to just his wife wanted to go to New York, he goes to New York. I mean, who goes to the Jets? I feel like the Jets, you should only draft players. No one wants to go there.
I mean, the Jets and Bears are similar in the sense of offensive players go there to die. But I think Decker was kind of on the way. Same thing. And Nelson went to the Raiders and just was.
I mean, listen, it's an exaggeration, so don't be like, no, you wouldn't. I'd be able to catch a few passes if I was playing in that team in Denver when you got Julius Thomas, Demaryius Thomas, fucking all those weapons. I know there's someone I'm missing.
Wes Welker. He wasn't as big of a deal back then.
Moreno as the running back.
God, you remember those teams better than I do.
Yeah.
I remember I mean, it's all about that defense. But that first year with Manning there, they were breaking. I think, didn't he break the touchdown records that year?
Yeah. You could have easily gotten open at one point.
Well, I mean, with all those guys, I mean, I would just be able to dump off pass and just fall down. Like, get down! They're going to kill you. But anyway, I don't have energy for, like, your teams have to be competitive in my eyes to have that sort of distinct. Listen, if like someone on the Packers did like something like just completely dirty to like another Bears player, it'd get me worked up. But it's hard to. But don't get me wrong, like noon to 3 or whatever time period, whatever slot the Bears are in, during those 3 hours, I'm full meathead. Like I want the other team to die. Like I am all like. I think there is a healthy way to channel that energy too. So
I think. In terms of Nate, his problem is I don't think he plays enough like fantasy and / betting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing about football. I have fun watching the Browns play the fucking Steelers. I could care less of either one of them, but because I have something invested in this, now I'm focusing on the players. I'm making mental notes. I'm like, oh, they tend to go to Claypool a lot now. Maybe not so much Juju. Shit that I wouldn't ever fucking like even look at.
It also removes like emotional investment
exactly
for like,
which is sometimes why I don't bet Bears players.
Yep,
like,
I usually stay away from that. I'm gonna try to stay away from the Bears game. Like I feel like because the Bears I can really like, I can just talk myself either way. I can like I've seen them like underperform and overperform. You know, I've seen like maybe they'll knock this one out of the park sort of thing. But I actually do think they match up kind of well to the Rams. But the Stafford makes me. Anyway, we can jump. I've made a list of every game against the spread, and I thought like we'll pick who we thought would be the division winners, or like even rank everyone in each division. I don't know about picking playoffs. I haven't really gone that far into it or thought that much into it. I can tell you who I think's. I mean, probably the odds say Tampa versus KC again, but. I haven't looked at their schedules, and that's a hard thing with like picking Super Bowl winners right now because attrition is everything. You know, at the end of the day, like if Tom Brady fucking knee pops or Patrick Mahomes knee pops, you know, if one of those guys are hurt, then they're not going anywhere.
I did actually draft David Montgomery. So I haven't done
a bad pick.
I haven't done a fantasy, as in like a full fantasy season in. When's the last time we did one with Steve? Like 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
At least, probably.
Yeah. So it's been a while. So I didn't do a lot of studying. My boss said, hey, there's this draft. We need a spot. And I was like, all right, I'll take it. And it was weird. It was weird going through like who to pick. And I've always been like more like wide receiver versus running backs because running backs are just so many things happen throughout the year, you know, in that department. And now a lot of teams are doing like the split backs and stuff like that. So But David Montgomery landed on my lap.
He's
and,
one of the few guys that doesn't really split carries.
Yep.
I mean, they did bring in Damian Williams, and I think they want to split carries. But as long as Andy Dalton's out there, I mean, and Fields could also help. I just think they're going to run the ball more with Andy Dalton.
Right.
Just simply, like Fields, they might run the ball with Fields.
Well, and the thing I was thinking about too, Chicago fans are like, "Ooh, Nagy, you better run that ball." And so I'm like,
Yeah.
"All right, Montgomery." I couldn't say no. Like he landed on my lap, and I was like, you know what, I gotta get him.
I think he's a solid. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be. He's a solid pick. He probably got him in the second round, maybe even third. I doubt he fell to the third round, but.
Third round.
Really?
It's a 10-man league.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I can't even wrap my mind around 10. I've never done a 10-man league before. I remember our buddies. He's done 10-man league a bunch of times, and he'll like show me his roster. I'm like, how the fuck did you get all these guys? And actually, I think he did an 8-man league one year, and I'm like, this is dumb. This is so yeah.
That was back-to-back winner.
Yeah, I remember the.
I gotta find that video.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Usually around this time of year, that video goes through my mind.
Yeah.
At least post it to like our YouTube page or something.
Yeah. Well, I would have to change the song because it's copyright.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, copyright.
We're not big enough for them to catch that.
But anyway, what do you got for?
All right. I mean, we'll just go over all the games for this week. Except I saved the Bears for last, which was easy because they're Sunday night. But so tonight.
That is tonight.
Tonight.
I don't know what I was thinking. Today was Wednesday.
It feels so probably because Monday was Labor Day.
You know, being that we didn't technically upload this week, I might just
That's what I
postpone that one, upload this one.
That's I was thinking the same thing.
More relevant.
So I took these from DraftKings
All right.
on today, so 9/9 at 8:04 a.m. So these the lines could change, but it's Dallas at Tampa Bay. Dallas is plus 8.5, and the over under is 51 points. I don't love Dallas, so like I don't love really any of these numbers because it's 51's a lot of points
For Thursdays.
Yeah, and it's the first game of the season. Usually teams are sloppy. However, I'm taking the 51 over. I do think if I had to lean towards like the actual like the 8.5, I would probably take Dallas because I think they can do a backdoor cover. But I think if Dallas can get to 21 points, I feel good about the. I think Tampa's going to put 30-35 on them.
I'm going to go take the under on that one.
Under, all right.
Because I feel like...
That's a little fucked up right in front of all. Just to completely contradict me like that.
Because I feel like Tampa's going to be Tampa. What was the word you used to describe first games? They're a little sloppy?
Yeah.
Ain't nothing sloppy about Tom Brady. But there is a lot of sloppiness about... notorious sloppiness on Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say Chicago. So I feel like Tampa's going to score. It might be a slow start, but they're eventually... I agree. I think they're going to put up 30. I just don't think Dallas is going to put up that much.
I think Dallas is going to get a lot of...
Garbage.
Yep. Backdoor. They'll be down like 32-7 and scored 14 in the second or in the fourth quarter because they're in a prevent defense and they're not even trying anymore. Like I do think I did a... That's the other thing. I think DraftKings has a $25 same game parlay, so you can, if you don't get it, you get your $25 back in like credit. But I kind of bumped up stuff like Dak Prescott over on yards and things like that, just because I think he's just gonna have to throw the ball. I don't think they're, unless for some reason Tampa again there's a little miscommunication there. That's the other thing about like Arians. If this was like New England, I would be a little concerned with maybe them running the ball more. No, not that like he's not afraid to still just fucking go for the throat, but he still might be a little bit more conservative. While Arians will be like, fuck this, like let's go get it. For our second game, we have San Francisco at Detroit. I guess I should specify. I'm always going to say the away team first, the home team second. So San Francisco at Detroit. San Francisco's minus 7.5, and the over under is 44.5. I think San Francisco's going to butt fuck them. So I think Detroit's probably the only team in the NFL I think worse than Detroit. They're the Texans.
I'm going to go under again.
All right. I mean, Detroit might not be able to score even. I almost said
that's
run.
what I'm thinking. I think they're going to definitely not necessarily shut them out, but And then I just don't know. No offense to anybody, but San Francisco doesn't seem like the team that's just gonna plow 40 points on somebody. So I'm thinking it's gonna be like a 28-3 sort of thing. So yeah, I'm gonna take the under on that one.
Pittsburgh at Buffalo. Pittsburgh's plus 6.5.
Damn that.
And 48.5 is the over. I'm taking Buffalo minus the 6.5. Pittsburgh is a team that I've been probably saying this for about 4 years now, that I'm just waiting for, I think the wheels are going to fall off.
On Ben?
Yeah. I mean, they did last year, and everyone's saying it's the best he
does look pretty.
You know how old he is?
42?
39. But
he looks like
so Brady.
Brady's 43 and he looks
Brady
31.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, oh my, Ben is an old looking 39. Yeah. He looks like, just take a vacation, man.
He doesn't do that TV12 thing though. Yeah. It's like he probably in his Gatorade bottle he has some old style or PBR. Seems like a PBR guy.
He definitely seems like a PBR guy.
And he doesn't have the fountain of youth of Giselle.
Yeah. For sure.
Sucks the soul right out of you. That's graphic. That's not what I meant.
No way she does any sucking.
Yeah, no, not yet. At that point. Next game.
You didn't even make a pick.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me because I understand the hype around Buffalo. I guess I get Josh Allen and stuff like that.
Makes me. I think I agree with it being a tough game.
Yeah.
Josh Allen is a concern for me going into this season. I've definitely been more one of his detractors.
They're at Buffalo?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go underdog here. I'm gonna go Pitt.
Okay. I mean,
listen. There are very few times a year where, like, all the favorites win. You're always gonna have 2 or 3 games that there's an underdog that's gonna win.
Well, we're picking towards the points, not.
Well, yeah, I know. But yeah, I'm going Pitt.
Next one, Arizona at Tennessee. Arizona's plus 3, and the over/under is 52.5. I'm taking the under of 52.5. That seems like a lot of points for those two teams.
Who's Tennessee's quarterback right now?
Tannehill. They did just get Julio Jones. They got AJ Brown and they got Derrick Henry.
I did grab Julio too on my. He dropped too far.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, he's like, I don't know. I think I got him near like the 7th or 8th round. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking take him.
Yeah. It is Tennessee minus 3.
Yes.
I'll take that. I am a fan of what's his name in Arizona?
Hopkins or Murray?
Murray.
All right.
Yep. What's his first name?
Kyler.
I was going to say Tyler. Yeah. I'm kind of a fan of him. He's a little, he's dynamic.
Yeah, no,
but I mean, Tennessee, I think, has a lot of weapons there with Julio, Brown, it's a running back.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah, that's. I
don't think it's a bad pick at all. I just thought 52 has a lot of points. Minnesota. If I had to pick against the spread, I would definitely take Tennessee minus 3. Minnesota at Cincinnati minus 3 for Minnesota. 47.5 on the over. I'm taking the plus 3 with Cincinnati.
Ooh.
Actually, last year, Joe Burrow made me some money, like a lot. He's good against the spread. Hopefully he can bring that back. Yeah. I also think Minnesota might potentially. They've had like issues with a lot of COVID distractions. Their coach has had. There's been numerous. He's been very vocal about it, and it sounds like a few of the players, specifically Cousins, has been. They're both very much on the opposite side of each other, and it sounds like there's a little bit of just possibly a distraction between the team, and
it's Cousins.
Yeah. So really the other thing I'm just leaning towards, Joe Burrow came through for me a lot last year covering the spread. I don't necessarily think they're going to win, but I'll take the 3 points. I'm
going Minnesota. With Jeffrey Thielen. Those are, my boy Thielen happens to be a Caucasian receiver. Has nothing to do with it. But he's come clutch for me in fantasy. I actually drafted Thielen as well.
He's good. He's good.
No one picked him. Yeah. I'm like, okay, Thielen is always good for like a one TD in there somewhere. Like, you might not have a dynamic game, especially when you're surrounding him with Jeffries. Prior to that, Diggs, he's the guy everyone forgets about. So
Yeah, he'll have your daughter home by midnight.
Yep, I think they did that thing about like who would you not let your daughter in your team day, or your sister. I think Diggs was like
Diggs
that
was
one.
like,
But Thielen was like, oh, he's just the greatest guy. So
What one we did Minnesota, Cincinnati. So next we have Seattle at Indianapolis. Seattle minus 2.5. 50 is over under. I'm gonna go Seattle minus 2.5.
Yep, I agree.
Though why can't I think of that ginger fuck that's back now? Wentz. It does make me a little bit more nervous. I actually grabbed it when he got hurt.
That's right. He is.
I think it was at like minus. I think they moved like. I'll have to look at it. I think it was minus. +4 when Wentz got hurt, which I think I grabbed the number then and it moved all the way to 2.5. So wish I had the 2.5 number now. But anyway, Philadelphia at Atlanta. Philadelphia +3, and the over under is 49. This one I'm actually having a hard time with because I think both these teams are just butthole. So I'm going to take the under at 49.
I'm going to go Atlanta for the spread. Matt Ryan's going to sling it at one point, and I just don't like the Eagles at all. The Eagles talk about a team that finds a way to just, always lose.
Speaking of, like, our prior conversation of not having, like, resentment towards teams, Eagles are a team that kind of annoy me. I won't lie. Like, they just, a few of their fans I've crossed paths with have rubbed me the wrong way with their football aptitude.
I used to like the Eagles back when it was McNabb.
They're one of my favorite. Brian Dawkins, like I think the coolest football player in the history of the NFL. Yeah. Like he makes the visor that black visor looks so fucking awesome.
Yep. You had Deshaun Jackson, Westbrook.
Westbrook, I like.
I'm missing a receiver in there somewhere.
I don't care about the receivers. I love the Terrell Owens one.
Yeah.
That year and a half he was there. Ironically, I heard he was on Shannon Sharp's podcast or something. He talked about basically he could beat the fuck out of McNabb. I forget exactly. It's hard for me to. The audio was so poor. Sometimes I'm blown away by how poor the audio is on these multi-million-dollar millionaires. Podcast. But anyway,
listen, we really aren't working here with more than 400.
Yeah, they could just throw $10 grand at it and have someone set it all up for them all perfect and call it a day.
Some of these mics, like the one I don't know if you ever seen top streamers do it. Joe Rogan has them. They're like $400 a mic.
Sure.
It makes you sound clear even if you had it's almost like auto-tune. And I could be talking from back here and it sounds crystal. That's $400 a pop. That right there alone, that shit should sound perfect.
What's frustrating about it is Terrell Owens was on the phone and maybe but he sounded fine. Sharp is the one that sounded like shit. Basically he said it'd knock him out, which by the way, I would probably take Terrell Owens in a lot of fights. Yeah. But
hey, let's make it happen right before the next Paul brother card.
Barstool Rough and Rowdy. By the
way, can I talk really quick about, not to change subject, about the Jake Paul fight? Did you see any of it? I have
not seen a bit of it.
Okay, so I saw it with what's his name? Was it Woodley?
I think so. Yeah.
Now more than ever, I think those fights are rigged. Woodley rocked his ass so hard it threw him into the turnbuckle.
I saw it. I've seen a clip of him against the ropes.
I thought he was dead. I thought he was going to go through it. Good job, him. I'm not going to take away credit. He
take a hit.
He took a hit. The fact that Woodley didn't finish him off right then and there is what I think has been upsetting a lot of fans and basically saying this shit's rigged because he had him. Someone who's been fighting for so long, an ex-champion, you'd have the. Like, I understand Conor McGregor not trying to finish off Dustin Poirier in their, not the fight that he broke his leg, obviously, but the one prior to that where he had him rocked. Because, obviously, at this point, you're two professional fighters going at it. He's missed a lot of octagon time. I get missing that. But in this style of fighting, to knock someone through the turnbuckle and not just, at that point, just haymaker his ass, I was like, okay. It was almost like he hit him, and he's like, "Oh shit," you know. And then he's like, "I'm just gonna keep going like this. You good? All right." You know, I don't fuck that. We'll never see Jake Paul get knocked out because it's all fucking scripted. Anyway, continue.
I mean, he's doing all right for himself, so I guess.
Oh yeah, I mean,
there's a specific reason I didn't really care. If he got knocked out and lost, I would have immediately ran and looked for the cliff. But I know which Paul fought this time.
Jake.
So
the very unlikable one.
Yeah,
I really don't mind the other one as much.
The other one does seem a little bit less he seems a little bit more PG, I guess, if you will. Like he seems like he knows how to
Logan.
he knows how to be more professional, if you will. But he's been flirting with WWE, and they're definitely gonna have him wrestle because in wrestling terms, to be over is whether the crowd likes or hates you, and the crowd, there's no one that's been in that ring in the last 2 years has been booed harder than him. I'm like, there's no way they're not, like, Vince McMahon can smell money with him.
The only person that would be booed harder would be Jake.
Sure.
But yeah, Logan does seem like the guy that he's actually somewhat normal, but his antics are to try to keep up his heel.
Sure.
Status where Jake just does it naturally because he's a fucking asshole.
Which one's the older one?
Logan.
Okay, so that's that. Jake just feels more immature to me. Feels like he's just trying to keep up, sort of thing. Whatever. Yeah. I'm done talking about.
Who knows? Maybe this whole thing is a show. Maybe they're both like normal ass human beings, and they're like, we know what we have to do to make money.
I 100% believe a lot of it is show. Like it's kind of. I mean, to bring it into wrestling terms, if I've heard a wrestler say 100 times their best character is themselves, but turned all the way up. Yeah. That's probably all they're doing.
Conor McGregor.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and where did he learn that from?
Exactly.
The Rock. Yeah. I mean, it's just it all goes back. Like, and with that said, like, they probably start believing it over time too. Yeah. Like, and he might be. He's probably somewhere more between, like, Jake Paul is probably becoming. If I was him, I would probably morph into that person too. Like, you just look at all the money he's making acting like this.
Right. So. It's talk about like insane reinforcement of what you keep doing what you're doing.
Back to football.
I said Atlanta.
You took Atlanta -3. So we got the Los Angeles Chargers at Washington. Chargers are +1, and the over/under is 45. This is like my lock of the week. I would take the Chargers. I'm taking them to win. Yep. So I'm taking the +1. I'm
taking the Chargers. Are they just banking on Washington having crazy defense?
I imagine. I mean, Chargers last year, they only won 6 games, but they got Bosa and Derwin James back. Obviously, I almost said Hamilton. Herbert was rookie of the year.
And he ain't afraid to sling it.
The one thing Washington, I actually think is, especially with Fitzpatrick, I think they're going to be a competitive team. They're going to be a tough team, and it is like that defensive line they have can completely wreck a game. I still think last year the hardest hurdle for Tampa Bay last year was Washington. But I still think the Chargers are bad. The Chargers, I mean,
they got Eckler back.
Actually, he might not play this week. He's on the injury report. That's why I forgot to tell you before that. You might want to look into. I think Justin Jackson's his backup, but I guess he tweaked something in practice.
Somebody just added Justin Jackson and dropped Giovanni Bernard. He drafted you?
I wouldn't. He's still with Tampa, right? I think the Giovanni Bernard is the type of running back that fucking Tom Brady eats with.
Well,
he just has a bunch of other backs too.
I haven't done my lineup yet, but they had Montgomery on my bench, so I'm just gonna pop him in there. Boom.
But and whatever, I just monitor it at game time because he's on the injury report. I think he's listed as questionable.
Yeah.
I think that's why they don't do probable anymore. So he's not doubtful, but that
Yeah.
also like you can't believe it. He could be missing a leg right now, and they'll be like, "Oh, he might play." Like, but anyway, I think Chargers have legitimate Super Bowl aspirations. I
Yeah.
really do. I think they're a dark horse. Oh, now we have what a boring fucking game. New York Jets at I can barely say it. At Carolina, the Jets are +4. The over under is 44. I'm taking the under on these fucking turds.
Yeah, I'll take the under, but I'd rather do the spread for Carolina.
All right.
Yeah. You know what I should do?
Is.
I should do a lineup as we do this and bet the actual.
Oh, and like
Like
do
a parlay,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was thinking about doing it. $1 if you hit on all these is gonna
Yeah.
win you like 20 grand.
They're cutting the
I
grass.
was gonna say I'm like it's raining shards of grass.
Yeah. I wonder if that's gonna go through the audio.
I doubt it. I can't imagine. It's not that loud. Even if it does, I
mean, all they have to do is just go through here once.
yes,
and then
I don't think it's that crazy. This is actually kind of a shitty game too. Jacksonville at Houston. I mean, I'm marking these down too if you want me to go back at the very end and tell you.
All right.
Jacksonville at Houston. Jacksonville is actually -3, and the over/under is 45. I think Houston is hands down the worst team in the NFL, and I'm going to take the 3 point. I don't love it because I don't think Jacksonville's a much better team, but I will still take Jacksonville -3.
Yeah, I'll take Jacksonville.
We have Green Bay at Nolans.
Mm.
What the?
Oh, I forgot Drew Brees isn't playing anymore.
Yeah,
I
I
was gonna
mean,
say,
Jameson looking good.
I don't know if he looks beating Rodgers type of
Yeah.
good.
I put money down on Jameson Winston to have the most passing yards in the NFL this year.
Damn.
Which I mean, it's like plus 5,000 right now. The at $10 wins you like $500. Green Bay at New Orleans. Green Bay -3.5, and the over is 49. I guess over under is 49. I took the over.
See, I hate the overs and unders. They're like, they terrify me, but I'm more comfortable saying that the Packers are going to hit the spread. All right, so what did I have for? I had the under for.
You took under on Dallas Tampa.
No, we don't have to cut this out.
Huh?
We don't have to cut this out.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the time limit's going to go in a second here anyway. Whatever.
We got 10 minutes.
Well, if we're going to review this, then we're going to keep going through the game. And we got 4 more
actually,
games
yeah,
left.
let's do it at the end.
So did we? I guess that this is misleading. It's one page. Maybe you thought that was all the games.
Yeah.
So we got Cleveland at Kansas City. Cleveland +5.5. The over is 54.5. I took the over.
Yeah, I could definitely see this being a 55.5.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of points. So this one is one of the tougher games for me. I just
Put me down in KC spread.
I just don't. I think Cleveland scares me with a backdoor cover, but I don't feel confident enough about it. Just Kansas City, it's hard to remove that image of how poor they look. Like they looked in the Super Bowl,
Yeah, well, yeah.
and like Cleveland's pass rush is mean too.
Yeah.
So like, it's hard to. But like just Kansas City, just every time I've watched Kansas City, they're a scary team to watch because they put up a lot of points and they do it very quickly. Like whenever I watch them, they start off slow and all of a sudden there's like 28 points to end the half. I'm like, oh my.
The best example of this is still, I think it was a playoff game. It was Kansas City against Houston.
They were down
21,
right?
Yeah, 21-0 in the first quarter. And man, I remember I was at work. I got to see the first quarter full, right? And then I had a customer come in. We did like a 30-minute presentation or whatever, 40 minutes. I grabbed my phone again. It was a tie game. I was like, what happened? Like, how the fuck did... Because, I mean, obviously 30 minutes in real time is, 15 minutes? Or maybe not even that, 12 minutes in game time.
Could be 4 minutes in game time.
Yeah, it depends what time of the game it is. And I was like, what the fuck did they do so fast? I mean, with that being said, Houston also scored the 21 points pretty quickly. But, yeah, crazy.
But like that, it's just they're a tough team to gamble on if you don't like stress, they're not a fun team to gamble
Yeah.
on sometimes.
My thing with the over is I don't know if I trust Cleveland to help out with the points.
Oh, I feel real good about that actually.
do?
I'm the opposite of that. Like Cleveland, I even low key would like. I feel like this is a sneaky like pick the underdog to win game. I'm not saying like again. Obviously, I don't feel 100%. If we were doing like a chart of which underdogs do you feel best about winning, they're up there for me. Just because Kansas City's defense is kind of turd, but yeah, I also their opportunistic defense and. Baker Mayfield feels like a pick six machine to me. I know it's not like fair to say, especially after the season he had last year, but they did a really good job of keeping the ball out of his. They ran the ball and killed teams with play action, which I'm sure is going to be the game plan to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. So that's the other thing that scares me a little bit with the over is I think Cleveland's going to try to just control the ball and maybe keep it a closer score in the game. I just don't know if they're going to have the opportunity to do it because Casey's going to put up so many points.
Right.
But I it's kind of similar to how I felt about today's game. I feel good about Casey getting to 30 points. It's all about can Cleveland get to that 25-26 number.
Yeah, because my fear is like, wish it would work out either way, but like Casey will put up points and then how's that Maker?
Cleveland.
Baker Mayfield is going to have to start throwing it, and he's just gonna be swimming up, against the stream and just chuck one into the secondary, and that's it.
The other concern again with the over, I don't feel very strong about it. I'm not. I guess ultimately, I would say the KC minus 5.5 is. Though those would be the two I'd go with. I can talk myself into 8 different directions on this game. Again, this is probably one of the least confident games I am on. Is game one, the first game of the season is just, it's always kind of clunky for everyone, especially there's one less preseason game.
Right.
Sometimes just the one thing that I feel good about is KC's a team that they've played. They've been been
together for a while.
Yeah, they can probably get off the bus and know they could go a whole off season.
Yeah.
And that first practice was like, oh, they haven't skipped a beat.
Yep.
So here's kind of a tricky one. It's
It's super fucking tricky.
just because the teams involved are just.
I don't know
Yeah.
about New England.
So it's Miami at New England. Miami's +3, and the over's 43.5.
Miami's notorious for beating New England, but in Miami.
Yeah, you know what? I'm doing I'm going New England -3. I think Bill Belichick's smarter than everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd take that.
But yeah, I don't know how to feel about Mac Jones and everything. I accidentally drafted him. I actually was going to target him, but I missed my pick and he was automatic. I took him about a round higher than I wanted, but whatever. In that point, I hope he does well because he's my starting quarterback. I was waiting forever to take quarterbacks. I actually took Justin Fields a little early because all of a sudden, like Trey Lance got taken. Trevor Lawrence got taken. People started I'm like, okay, people are starting to take players that they project to be better by the end of the season. I'm like, so I was like, you know what? I actually wanted to get Trey Lance, not Fields.
I took Stafford.
Oh, I think Stafford. Listen,
Stafford and Ryan as the backup.
The LA Rams are my
sleeper to
my NFC my team out of that. I actually put money down on them to win the Super Bowl. Part of a parlay. I was trying to bump the number up. I don't feel very great about it. But listen, I wasn't like, oh, they're going to win this. I'm like, who's a team that like I think legitimately has Super Bowl chances? And yeah, that guy is a hit away from not being that team.
Yeah.
But I think Stafford's going to be good.
You imagine for a second if this motherfucker gets another one. Well, we're talking about Tom Brady, by the way. For those listening, there is a Tom Brady jersey behind my head.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know if it really adds much to. I mean, I don't really know if the discussion's open anymore. So
yeah,
just puts him further away. I saw him say that he's not playing to beat Joe Montana. He's playing to beat Michael Jordan. I'm like, I think he kind of already did that too.
Yeah,
but Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's going to be rinse and repeat next year. It's going to be the exact same thing we just felt. I would bet against it just because how was the last time a team? I think the last time a team.
It's super tough in football.
I think the last guy to do it is him.
Yeah.
Now I think is an 03, 04 Patriots, but I'm not counting. I'm not going to bet against him. The
It's
team's
just-
still nasty.
It's just so tough in football because first of all, I mean, I've said this in the past, like single game elimination in the playoffs, assuming you're all healthy still at the end, and you can't have a fuck up, and there's obviously a lot of new dynamic faces, new teams out there that just, it's tough. I've always felt like winning back-to-back championships in football is extremely unlikely, just because of all the
of all the sports, it's by far the most difficult.
It's just all the things that could happen throughout the season.
I think baseball actually might be a little bit more difficult. But
Usually, if you have you have room for error. That's the thing in baseball. Like you have room to like let's say you go down 2-0 in the series. Look at the Cubs.
Yeah.
Like they came crawling back out of all their fucking.
I guess I suppose it's just really hard in all sports. I guess at the end of the day, I think basketball is the easiest just because there's 10 people on the court, but and just injuries don't pile up. Like that's football. Football, I think the biggest reason it's difficult is the injuries.
Yep.
Baseball, I think. So that's in a single game. I think there's less room for error because you only have so many opportunities in a single game, but you get to play it over the course of possibly 7 games. So that's kind of maybe balances things out. But injuries are still a factor in baseball. But like an injury isn't as brutal in baseball. Like if Tom Brady goes down,
that's it.
They have no chance.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to think. Why can't I think of the right fielder on the Dodgers? He's from the Red Sox. Mookie Betts. If he gets hurt, they're still in it. Yeah, it's that you don't feel as confident, but you're still in it. Even if like Kershaw went down, you still got a shot. Like now, if a bunch of them start going down, like Scherzer gets hurt and things like that, like all. That might be picked up.
If that came through, it's they're cutting my grass right now.
It's not a big deal. Yeah. Anyway, sidetracked. We took New England -3.
Yep.
So now we got Denver at the New York Football Giants. Denver's -3. The over/under's 42. I think these teams they might get. I'm taking the under. They might get 6 first downs in this game. I'm talking a little bit too much shit about those offenses.
I'm not comfortable in picking either spread because I don't know who really could win. I'm gonna go with the under. I'm not comfortable in saying that Denver's gonna cover the -3. I'm not comfortable that the Giants are gonna cover the +3.
I don't like. I'm not a. Denver's -3 on the road, which is like I just don't think. If I guess I had to take one, I would take Giants +3 because they're at home. Because I don't think Denver's that much better of a football team than them. But yeah, I still don't like. Anyway, the reason I took that, and that's a low under. Yeah. That's a low. I think that might be the lowest set of points in the entire.
It's a coin flip.
Yeah, it is. I don't know if I like the under as much as I did, seeing that it's the lowest set of points. But
it's a coin flip of 2 shit teams. Yeah. Like I mean, like money line. It's a 50-50. Like I almost want to do the same lineup twice and then do one -3 and do one +3.
The thing is, like, can you parlay them? Anyway, -3 +3. The thing about Denver is I don't think they'll turn the ball over much, and that's the Giants. The Giants I think have the better offense, but Daniel Jones.
I mean,
might just turn that ball over. I could see a pick 6 out of Denver.
Saquon Barkley's back. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just don't trust the Giants. So this is the Monday night game, but I'll save the Bears game for last.
Is that why there's a star?
No, it's my second lock of the week.
Okay.
Baltimore at Las Vegas. Baltimore -4. The over/under is 50.5. I'm taking Baltimore -4. I think I just think they can control the ball in Vegas, both sides of the ball. Like I don't think Vegas has a fucking. If it was -10, I'd take Baltimore.
Yeah.
Actually, I should make a bet and take -10.
I'm not a big fan on of the Raiders. I guess I don't see what some people see in them. I will take that -4 all day.
And now we have the Chicago Bears at.
Put my initials.
Sorry. You said the -4, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't miss you on anything else. All right. We have the Chicago Bears at the Los Angeles Rams.
No.
The Bears are +7.5. The over/under is 46.5. I'm taking the Rams -7.5. This is like so. I can see a scenario. The Bears over the past few years have played the Rams, but played them tight. They've won a game, lost a couple, but they've played close ball games with them. And the biggest reason I think that was, there's two things that concern me. The Bears secondary is not as strong as it once was, and I think Stafford is a million times better quarterback than Jared Goff. This is the first time Matthew Stafford's had a running game in his entire career.
And just a full-out team.
Yeah, I think it's the best receiving core he's ever had, too, which I know everyone's going to be like, yeah, Calvin Johnson. Well, yes, Calvin Johnson's the best player he's ever had.
Yeah.
I don't think the players around Calvin were that great. They were just amplified by the quarterback and him.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is when we talked about like our feelings about our teams. The negative Bear fan in me is just trying to ooze out, and I kind of like the only chance really. So another thing that concerns me, Khalil Mack is listed on the injury report. Like Khalil Mack, if he can bust up again. If Khalil Mack can get in the backfield and just wreck a game, changes everything. That's a lot to expect, especially when they have Aaron Donald on the other side. And I just don't see it. I don't see anyone else on the Bears defensive line helping him out as much as he needs to wreck the game. So, if I had to just guess or bet, I would bet a bloodbath over the Bears covering that 7.5. I hope I'm wrong, but I smell a bloodbath.
Just deposited $100 in DraftKings. Let's go. So what I'm gonna do is, oh shit! I thought it was a spider on me. So I'm gonna put these. I'm gonna commit, and I'm gonna make a parlay on literally
$100 parlay.
No,
because that would be like $1 million.
Oh yeah, that shit hits. I ain't working anymore. All right, so Dallas and Tampa Bay. I had the
under 51.
Under 51. God, see, this is why I hate fucking DraftKings. I want to bet more. Shut the fuck up.
You're gonna add more button.
All right. Yeah, but the thing pops up. Niners and Lions. What do I have?
Under 44.5.
Steelers and Bills.
Pittsburgh +6.5.
Arizona and Titans.
Tennessee -3.
Vikings Bengals. Vikings -3.
Yep.
Seahawks Colts
-2.5.
Chargers Washington.
Chargers. Oh, okay. +1.
+1. Yeah, this was the underdog. Eagles Falcons. Falcons 3.5.
Yeah.
Jets Panthers.
Yeah.
Are they Panthers?
Yeah. -4.
Houston Jacksonville.
-3 for Jacks.
Can I not pick this? Okay. Packers, I think I went 3.5.
Yep.
Kansas City Browns.
You took KC -5.5.
Dolphins New England.
Where are you? Oh, -3.
Denver Giants under.
Yep.
Why not even put the Bears in there? No, Bears Rams -7.5.
I didn't even write you down on that one.
And then Baltimore.
You took Baltimore -4. I was gonna say $1 alone should get you like 10 grand.
$5 gets me 144,000.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what? It's first week. I'm gonna put 10 on it.
All right. Yeah.
10 gets me 288,000.
That would be nice.
That sure would be nice.
There's no, and by the way, if you hit the first, if there's no way you don't cash it before the Sunday night game,
100%. So there was
And which would be smart, by the way.
Yeah. There was
even if they offer you like $5,000 or something, it could
oh,
be.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Was it last year? Yeah, last year, or 2 years ago. Doesn't matter. I did a 14-man parlay, meaning I picked 14 players, one of every game, that was going to score a touchdown. I missed it by one. It would have been $114,000 if I would have hit all of them. But the one I missed was during a 12 o'clock game.
Yeah.
There's no way if he would have hit, I would have
Made to the 3 o'clock games.
Well,
I mean, I guess I don't know how many 12 o'clock games you had on there.
Well, it wasn't even the Sunday night game. It was the next. So it was Monday. So I'm like, no. Even though the Monday night one was Devontae Adams, which but still, no. Because
you want to talk about a way to like throw or write a death threat to a player.
if I could only imagine if it would have been $114,000 and all I was missing was Devontae Adams on Monday, I'm sure they would have cashed out with like $50,000. Will probably give me the cash out option. I almost want to be in that scenario to see how much they're willing to give you, but the fact that Devontae Adams, it wasn't like he was favorite to score a touchdown. Like he wasn't like plus. I mean, I have people in there like Hunter Henry for like plus 500.
Yeah, I mean, he would definitely be a higher one
Yeah.
up there that they'd be like, we got to figure out, we got to make this number tantalizing enough to get this guy to fucking.
Like Bale right now. Yeah. And if you're wondering who it was that fucked me, Nelson Aguilar. Nelson Aguilar. Yeah. He didn't even get a catch.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty Nelson, and he's usually kind of all or nothing.
And that's why fuck the Raiders.
Yeah. I don't think he's a Raider anymore.
Well, no, I know.
Yeah, but
he wasn't at the time.
So pretend you hit on all these.
Yep.
And you carry it. Well, let's pretend that like the Bears are the Monday night game. Whatever.
I might not even make it if like every team is hit. I might not even make it to the Sunday night.
No,
game.
there's no chance you do. No, absolutely, you'd be dumb to.
Yeah.
But pretend you did. Pretend everything's hit, and fucking Bears win by 14. Who do you hate more, the Bears or do you take it like, oh, this is the time you guys finally come through?
Yeah.
Or I mean, really, you should hate the Rams, but
I mean, I'd hate myself.
okay, and no, you would hate.
But like between the teams.
Yeah, like ultimately, yeah. Pretend. How about this? Pretend there's no cash out option. So you miss it because the Rams don't, or because the Bears cover. Basically, the Bears score. I guess if I'm trying to go through a scenario, if the Bears won or lost by 6, I'd hate the Bears guts. I'd be like, if you're gonna fucking lose all those. Yeah, give me those extra that point and a half.
I'd be more mad at the Rams because they're like, for one, their team should beat the Bears. So I'd be like, you guys aren't going to win a fucking thing. You'll always be a fucking loser. Unless going to your no cash out option. I don't know if it was DraftKings or FanDuel. Could have even been Barstool. Last year, I was winning one. And there was, I wanted to cash out because I had one more game left. And I'm like, fuck it, I'll take it now because I was like hitting a losing streak. And then the app was failing. And it failed literally until the game that I wanted, like not only did it start, but then it was going the other way. So then they took away the cash out option.
Sure.
So I was like, did I just get fucked? Did they make the app crash? Like I don't think that's, I think it was just unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah, I'd assume they want, the only reason I would argue that they didn't crash it is because they would have wanted you to cash out. If they thought the game was going to go the other way, they would have never gave you the cash out option. Like there are scenarios in which like you feel like they should cash out and they're like they just won't ask it because they probably have some sort of algorithm. They're like, no, they're gambling at this point too. They're like, we'll risk it, and that's the one thing I was thinking, like how many, like at the end of the day, say that you hit all these and they offer you $50,000 to cash out. What is that extra $50,000 to them, like to give you?
Yeah.
So they might even just say, you know what?
I mean, there's probably people that bet $50,000.
They might just like, let's see if he hits it, because that $50,000, it's not, at the end of the day, all the money they pass around, that ain't. Now if 50,000 people had 50,000 on that game, maybe they're like, we've got to get our money back.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like the $10 I spent right now, like that's normally I don't do that unless it's like maybe like a 1-team bet or like a 4-leg parlay, like nothing crazy. Only reason I did it now is just because it was fun, and I got paid. So, but there's people out there that probably fucking bet like thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars a day. Like
We know one of them.
well, yeah, but yeah, that's money I don't
we
have.
partied with him.
Yeah. I remember. It was the morning of, or one of the mornings, and he was watching. It was Saturday. It was Saturday morning because it was college football, and he was standing in front of where the Yin Yang Tins.
It was Saturday, is the night we showed. It was the night we arrived. Are you talking about when he lost the bet?
Yeah, but he took it so calmly. He was like,
he was upset with me. We showed up. That was the night we showed. That was the first time we'd ever partied with him, and it was Texas that was playing. I don't remember who they're playing, and he just needed like a field goal. He had the over. He just needed like a field goal to cover or something like that. And they're like inside the 5, and I don't remember. Like Texas is down like maybe 8 or something. Like I can't remember the exact score. But they're like trying to. So they needed to score a touchdown and like get a field goal, something like that, to have a chance. Maybe they're just simply down 7. So like they're in a situation in which a field goal wouldn't have hurt them. Like the game wasn't over yet if they kicked a field goal, but they still would have to get the ball back to win. And all he needed was that, like, I think he needed 2 points. He just needed a field goal. And they're like inside the 5, and like. I was like, "Oh man, you're good." I was like, "Yeah." The only thing you have to, I literally say the only thing you gotta worry about is a red zone turnover, and they fumble the very next play. They did get the ball back down inside the 5, but at that point they had to score a touchdown, and they didn't. And I was just like, "Oh," that was the moment. I'm like, I will never ever comment. There's like $30,000 he lost.
Does he listen to this podcast?
No. Maybe he said he's listened periodically. I can't imagine. I imagine
we do. I mean, there's
that hiatus we took. I imagine he probably fell off.
Yeah, I mean, there is for the most part, every episode gets 8 listens instantly. Mm-hmm. It's always like the same 8, sometimes 9, sometimes 10, and then nothing happens, and then that's when it slowly starts trickling up again. But every time we upload,
shout out to Didi.
Within like the first few days, it's always like a guarantee 8 listens. Mm-hmm. So for those 8 that always listen, thank you, appreciate it.
One day you'll be a part of like the VIP club.
I do miss those Vegas trips. Though. I kind of wish you would start it again. Maybe here's the thing: it doesn't have to be so crazy. Like we don't need fucking Nelly or your Soulja Boy.
But we need the room though.
Yeah, the room, and then. The nightclub.
Yes,
night,
I agree. Yeah,
but it doesn't have to be a booth at Hakkasan. It could be the fucking the one upstairs in the fucking
is moon room or moon club. I think that's like a moon club. Something like that.
It's something moon.
Astrology club. I don't know. Yeah. But I was talking to Nacho. And I was like, I think I can comfortably say his name. I don't think I'm giving away his information there.
Yeah.
But he's never been to Vegas. I'm like, oh man. I'm like, we gotta. I told Julie, I'm like, yo, okay, you gotta edit it. Whatever. I told my wife.
Yeah.
That I'm like, we got to. I got to talk to my boy, and like we got to get Nacho in Vegas.
Yeah.
Like we got to do a Vegas. I told him like this a couple days. We ain't gotta go crazy.
Fuck. I mean, even if it's just us, I got like so many points in.
I don't know if I can do Vegas again without the.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I go to Vegas. I mean, if it wasn't for COVID, like I've been pretty much averaging almost a Vegas trip every year to 2 years. I always thought, my wife does listen to these, even though the fact that this was football related, she probably won't. Listen, I always thought that going with my wife, or just a wife, it doesn't have to be like my wife, but just going with like your significant other to Vegas alone, I was like, it's going to be kind of a buzzkill. It's not as fun as the shit we did with like, like the guys' trips and stuff, just because of all the stuff that Steve made available. So it's like it's gonna be like super fun. It's been super, like it's nice because it's kind of low key. It's like the day that when you and I stayed that extra time.
Yeah.
It's just chilling, you know. A lot of pool, a lot of Miami Vices, and then gambling. So to me, it's fun. But it would be nice to fucking do just one of those trips again. Here's the thing. I think there was a lot of pressure because he was doing it like every fucking year. Like, we don't need to do it every fucking year. We can do it every like 5 years or whatever. I mean, think about it. It's been 5 years probably since we last went, 6 years. Because we both we both were planning on not going because it was right around our wives' due dates.
Mm-hmm. I think we went the year before then.
Yep. But it was a lot of stress. We're like, man, imagine if we go and our luck, fucking one of them pops.
Yeah,
like,
it was literally like it was the weekend. And now I think about it.
And both our wives had the same due date. So,
by the way,
that's why
my wife did end up going to labor during that because, it was Labor Day weekend he was going. And she.
Imagine?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I can't like that. That's the. By the way, he offered me a free trip at one point because of it. He wanted like he needed bodies to go, and so it was to the point that like they had like he's like, listen, like somebody, I'll pay for your trip out there and everything. He's like, I remember him telling me, he's like, listen, if she goes into labor, we can just fly you back out. It's like 3 hours out. I'm like, that. I can't, like, my wife's going to, like, who's getting her to the hospital? And
right.
Like, she's freaking out, and now it's another thing of me trying to get in. By the way, can you imagine any more stressful fucking flight?
Yeah.
And
can we fucking move this plane any faster?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to survive. they'd fucking duct tape me to a chair.
And being there through the whole birthing experience, obviously I know you had a different scenario with C-section, but, like, to be there while she's pushing it out, or her out. Yeah, would not want her to do that by herself.
Yeah.
Like, that's, but I do want to, man, I don't know if I necessarily like want a guy's trip. I just, be nice to do a vacation again. And now it's like, I'm a little bit more comfortable, I guess, financially, where like, Steve, I'll pay double. What we paid last time. It was like $1,100. I'll pay double. I mean, I know that $1,100 for everything that we did is a fucking steal
for sure. Yeah,
that's like buying a car for $500.
Everyone, as I say, everyone probably owed at least 5 G's.
Yeah.
At least.
So, again,
even like this, the second time we went too with like the girls, and we had the penthouse.
Yeah,
forgot about that.
That was fucking baller. Like it was so nice. And again, we don't need a fucking performance just being in that room alone.
Yeah,
just get the one DJ they had just
sitting around in the pool smoking some cigars,
that's
man.
Right there, man. That's
I agree. Like a DJ. I mean, I thought like the clubs were the coolest nights, but I had the most fun. I still remember the first time we went there, and like I just remember like going. I don't even know what bar they went to or what club they went. So there's another. That's right.
Ghost Bar.
But there's another club there as well.
Yes.
That was closed down last time we went. I just remember thinking that was a dope club too. I'm sure like sure every nightclub in Vegas is dope. But
that one's the one, I think, the one that was closed down, the one that we went to that was on top.
Yeah, so the one that was closed down because the Ghost Bar we could see from. Then I think the other one was. I think one of them was Moon something.
Yeah, it's definitely Moon.
So
not
anyway,
like Club Moon, but it's Moon blank something or
Moon
blank
Trip.
Yeah.
Which
had like an outside
patio.
Yeah, patio, and this is on top of the building, so it's as obviously it's hot as fuck, but whatever, no one cares.
It's not. I don't remember being that big of a deal.
You're right. Yeah. It was just so cool, and the DJ that night was fucking like hitting all like the fucking top hits of the 90s and 2000s when it comes to hip hop. Like this guy was fucking bringing it. Like just 2 nights of that, and be fine.
I remember so our buddy used to throw crazy Vegas trips. Like he hired the Yin Yang Twins. Like he rented out this suite that was like $40,000 a night. Like literally the first time we went there, like the floor below us, Drake was at. Like we were above Drake. Drake, this is like a decade ago, so he's still a big deal back then.
Yeah.
Like he's not like the #1 musician in the world or whatever, but like he was still very big deal back then. This was back when like Forever with Kanye West and Eminem and Lil Wayne was out and everything. But we like he would just throw these massive fucking parties, and then like Hakkasan was, which I think was like rated like the #1
Yeah.
nightclub in the world. He took us there. Who was the DJ?
Tiesto.
Yeah, I don't know who. I'm not a very. I know he's a big deal.
You know
And-
the songs.
And we were right. We were right. Like I could almost pat him on the fucking back.
Yeah, we were 10 feet away from him.
And
Yeah.
I just remember at one point we had our own little booth, but like it was basically right next to the DJ. Like we were on stage essentially.
Yeah.
And I just remember like once the strobe lights just fucking going nuts, and it just felt like time froze. And I just remember every single chick in the club was just like they're just like, how do I get up there?
Yeah. They were like looking at us like, I mean, willing to do things just to get in there.
Yeah, the guys there, the single guys
Yeah.
up there, it was probably like shooting fish in a barrel.
Yep. The one thing I gotta say about Hakkasan, I didn't like the bathroom
Oh, we
situation.
had to walk all the way. Yeah, that
Yeah.
especially 'cause that was. I think there actually was a bathroom around the corner that Steve was able to use, but I don't think he like it's because he was like the VIP or whatever.
But they should have a VIP only bathroom where like, because it just makes sense. Like, okay, so describe it to you guys. It's kind of like a circular nightclub, and let's say Tiesto is the basket, you know, on like an NBA court, right? And then the 3-point line is essentially like the floor. We're on we're behind the basket. To get to the fucking bathroom, we had to go to the other basket across. So you got to fucking
and every square inch
Yeah.
of the floor is covered by a human body.
right. So it would take you like 20 minutes to
Yeah.
go there and back just because of all the people. To me, especially when it comes to drinking, like bars / clubs, they need to have like a good bathroom situation. They had a very poor one.
Even like I forget, reminiscing about Vegas, the pool. Did we go? No, is the next year we had like the pool party.
Yep.
That was dope. Like
Yep.
Justin Bieber was there, by the way. We didn't get by him, but
Yeah.
like speaking of
Hey.
a very notable human being.
But we got pictures with Jackson Rathbone.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know who that is, he is Jasper from Twilight. He just found his way upstairs. It was
Yeah,
like, hey,
very soft hands.
yep.
Super cool, actually. He's
Super cool dude.
high
yeah.
as fuck when we met him, but
Yeah.
whatever. We were drunk as fuck when we met
yeah.
him. So like,
Yeah, now it'd be different because now you don't even have to drink. Just fucking smoke weed.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But then I wouldn't remember the night as well. I actually really wasn't that hammered at that point, but
I was gone. I was giving him the.
no, you were.
Who
Yeah,
was that?
yeah. I thought you were gonna try to fuck him. You were
Yeah,
just like,
I thought
you
it-
gave him fuck me eyes.
At first, I thought he was Jack White from the Red Stripes. Wait, the White Stripes, the Red Stripes. Red Stripes is a beer. Jack White. Same, similar like.
I remember you asking me like, "Who is he?" I'm like, I think I've seen him in a commercial.
Yeah. And then I had to like.
I will never forget the look on your face when you're like, "It's Jasper from Twilight." And
When
just-
when everything just like synced
yeah, if
up
I
for a
could
second.
bottle the look on your
Yep.
face, oh man, I was so pumped from the look on your face. I was just like, "This." I'm like, I know how happy you are right now.
Anyways,
That was like 4 a.m.
yeah, it was towards like because I remember calling my wife. I was like, "Guess who the fuck is back?" But anyways, so good luck to you guys if you bet. You do fantasy first. Hey, we're here first week, but we're gonna end it at that because we're gonna keep talking about Vegas and it's gonna get me all.
Now I
like-
wanna go again.
Yeah, now I want to go. But yeah, so week 1, I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of more opportunities to go through these. I don't know if we're gonna do them weekly though. Well, just the way that we record is gonna be impossible. Because,
Yeah, I mean, if like we hit on one of these parlays, we're gonna do it every single one. 'Cause we just became a gambling.
yeah. But anyways, have a fun week, and we will see you next time.
Fuck yourself, Brad.
Oh yeah, Brad. Fuck you.
Bye. Oh wow, the Cowboys. Anyway, they're now plus 1.5 or 9.5, 9.5. So it moved an entire point.
Move your body.